Hi everyone, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, this is our last video where we interview students about why they think there's a stigma around mental health and some of the resources that they know about on campus. I hope you enjoy.
Why do you think there's a stigma surrounding mental health and maybe talking about mental health in general?
I think because a lot of people either haven't experienced it or been exposed to it or don't know somebody who's experienced it. So when they do encounter somebody who's experienced it, it's almost like, well, they must be crazy. Like, I don't feel those things. Why do they just feel like the world is against them or that things are in black and white? Or why do they get angry off the cuff for no reason? Like, they just can't understand why people have irrational reactions to things because of their mental health. And so automatically they assign the one label they know to be associated with it, which is insanity.
I would say that's a labeling system that's been built up over at least 80 years. I mean, it really is a social construct through and through. The expectation, especially from dominant culture, is that you create a perfect family with yourself where everyone is a high-functioning individual, contributes a lot to the community, and mental health is seen as the antithesis of, or like having issues with mental health. So it's just not even something that's been discussed before recently.
I think that's a big part, is that having poor mental health does affect your ability to be productive. And truly, I think the one value that we share collectively as a society and as Americans is hyper-productivity. And when you can't perform above par for that, you're looked at as being less than. And so your lack of mental health being directly associated with your lack of productivity then correlates to your lack of worth and contribution to society.
I think it's because when people think of mental health, they think of like suicide, just negative like mindset.
I would just say today's circumstances, I guess. I hate to say it, but also previous generations, I think, set us up poorly, and I think most of them don't think it's a problem. But the world is ever changing, and I feel like just the circumstances in general have affected our mental health greatly. So, a lot of people around me I know have some sort of mental health issue.
Probably just like the perception of like mental health with some kind of weakness or deficit. People just see depression or anxiety as being a little less mentally strong, or something like that.
Even the generation like you were raised in, there used to be a stigma back then. It's like, oh, if you have like anxiety, you're not good enough or something. So it's like, I guess we were raised with people who kind of still had that stigma, and so now it's like getting more accepted. Like, if you do have anxiety or depression or whatever it is, like, it's okay, and like it's okay to talk to someone. So I guess that stigma, it's kind of based off of how we were raised and who we're around.
I think it's because it's something that you can't really see, so people don't understand it if they haven't experienced it.
I know, like, personally, I have a lot of anxiety, and I think people don't want to admit to it because it can be like, it's a bad thing, or it makes people look down on them, and so I think that's a very big stigma with mental health and getting awareness.
A big part of it is people don't talk about it enough. I know that I talk about it with my friends, but I feel like a lot of people, as soon as you start to talk about like, oh, I'm feeling depressed, sometimes people will be like, oh, so you're just sad. Or if I'm feeling anxious, it's like, oh, you're just worried. And I feel like there's like definitely some misconceptions there that make it difficult to talk about.
I'm not sure. I think it's hard to talk about for some people. And so, I don't know. When people see other people, that other people aren't comfortable with it, then it makes them harder to open up about their own mental health. So I think to overcome that stigma, you kind of just have to start talking about it, and it has to start somewhere. But,
Yeah.
And then what resources are you familiar with on campus that you think would be beneficial for students to utilize if they're feeling like stressed or overwhelmed?
I know the counseling office is pretty good here. I've actually been there myself.
I guess when it comes to like specific subjects, I know there's like tutors, but also just talking to professors. I know they're very helpful and always wanting to support you. And then I also understand there's like counseling services. I think those are all really great options.
I know we have like our counselors and stuff, and then the student health service for that kind of mental health. The counseling services here are fantastic, and there have been a lot of people that really are willing and looking to help you. I know there are even group sessions that you can go to if you're not comfortable going on one-on-one. I know also like my RA is fantastic, and you could talk to her.
I know counselors are good, and then we have supplemental instruction, and our TAs are pretty good, and always reaching out to your instructors too helps.
I've heard of like counseling services and stuff like that. I personally have never used them, but I know that they're a good resource to have on campus and stuff. So
I know you can like reach out to your counselors.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
Or your advisors even, or like I just feel like even like our RAs, I like talking about like just like they have resources. Like if you ask them, they'd be a resource, or they could ask other people to be a resource as well. So yeah.
Campus food pantry, counseling services, the academic skills center. But those are just the three that I'm most familiar with. I know there's a lot more, but they aren't super publicly known.
Thank you so much for watching. I know mental health is still a very stigmatized topic, and it takes some of us to start the conversation so that other people are willing and able to be vulnerable to share. And if you ever feel like you need resources, there is a lot of these resources that students talked about that are still available to students over the summer, and I hope you're able to fully utilize them. Have a great rest of your summer.